All right, good evening. My name is Adnan Mahmood, and I'm the founder of a company called LiveStories. We provide data tools to governments to help them make sense of their data. So basically what we do is we power modern governments. It's the last big sector that's left that's untouched by modern technology. We expect that over the next few years there'll be a massive sea change in this sector as technology takes over. And at LiveStories, we want to be leading that change. So that's what the company is really about. So we make it really easy for you to take your data and make sense of it. What that means is just a couple of very quick screenshots. When you put in your data, our system automatically a lot in our company, looks through the data and suggests interesting charts and visualizations without you having to do anything. You can take the charts we suggest, or you could create your own charts and then tell what we call data stories with it. So traditionally, governments produce really long, static PDF files that no one reads. Today, and it takes the multiple weeks to do that. Today, they're able to create these really dynamic, interactive story pages without writing a single line of code in a matter of days instead of weeks. But this is the question that you should be really asking. The product is pretty cool, but the question you should be asking is, why the hell are you guys working with governments? It's really long sales process. It takes a long time to get the deals done. Why are you working with governments? I will explain to you why we are working with governments, but before I get there, it's really important, I think, for us to talk a little bit about where our history as a company. So I used to work at Microsoft, worked on the two biggest data pipelines for the company. And then about 7-8 years ago, I founded a nonprofit called Joel Kona, which I presented actually to this crowd, New Tech Seattle, about 2 years ago, I think, 2.5 years ago. Anyways, but through the nonprofit, one of the things I learned was that public sector has a lot of technology needs that's going unmet. So I left Microsoft about 3 years ago and walked into this organization called the Gates Foundation with a PowerPoint presentation about, I think your grantees need a better data tool, and I'd like to build that. I was lucky because then they said, yeah, we think they actually need a better data tool. So they gave us a small grant and said, go and work on it, but the condition is you have to go to Africa and work with our grantees in Africa. If you can build a data tool that people in Africa can use, then you might have something that's worthwhile. So for a year and a half, that's what we did. We were in Africa working with an organization called AGRA, which is the largest Gates grantee around agriculture, and helped them make sense of their data with a very simple data tool. And then once we were done, we realized that actually we have something that's more broadly applicable. So today, our tool, our platform is used from California all the way to Kenya, multiple government organizations, and we have them signing up with our platform, few entities per week. But why governments? Back to the question. So I'll give you 3 reasons why we work with governments. Reason number 1, they provide the most critical services in our society: healthcare, education, public safety. It's the government that provides that. Reason number 2, government is the largest employer in the US. In fact, it's the largest employer in every country of the world. So the largest industry, the largest employer in every country of the world that provides the most critical services in every country of the world are stuck with, reason number 3, the most archaic tools. We wanted to change that. When it comes to data, most of the people who provide data tools give you a lot of knobs to control. It's as if you're getting a space shuttle when most people just really need to get down the street. So for us, our motivation is, what if we can provide you a self-driving car with a single button when it comes to working with your data? And that's what we're trying to go after. When we set out about a year ago to raise our first round of funding, we had investors coming to us and telling us that, hey, we love the product, we hate the market, we're going to give you money to not work with governments. For us, the mission of what we're trying to do is really, really important, which is, again, providing the support for the biggest sector. It's not about building a better data tool. It's not about being better at business intelligence. It's about building a company that matters. Company that matters to us as employees, company that matters to our customers, which is, again, the biggest sectors. And most importantly, it's about building a company that matters to the world. We are hiring. If you're interested in learning more, I'm happy to talk to you later. Thank you. Questions?
Are you doing visualization tools, analytical tools, that sort of thing mostly? How are you addressing their multitudes of text problems? Well, the text, the government documents.
Please repeat the question.
Yep. I was thinking maybe I'll just take the questions in one go and then answer them. Would that be okay? If there are other questions. Yep. Okay. Other questions? Yep.
How are you actually reaching the government sales process?
Yep. All right. So the three questions were, first question was, how are you working with the different kinds of data that's available in the government? Second question was, how are you dealing with procurement that's done from the government? And how do you reach the government agencies that are able to make these sales? So on the data side, yes, they have many different types of data. Our starting point at this point is mostly going to be around structured data. So we're not really working with unstructured data a lot at this point. It turns out there's a lot of structured data that's already not being used that they would like to start with, and that's what we're focused on. And we're making good progress with just structured data. I think as a startup, one of the things that we are really lucky is that we're able to innovate on the business model side and not just technology side. So with government, one of the biggest problems with government is procurement. It takes a long time because you have to go through RFPs, which are requests for proposals, and you have to bid, and then you have to compete with a bunch of people. But it turns out for most government entities, RFPs, the bidding process kicks in after a minimum threshold is reached. With our pricing plan and the way we're priced as a SaaS business, most government agencies are able to purchase our stuff without going to a bidding process. So we are able to just get in very quickly and then expand. In terms of how we reach them, so it turns out government is the only sector where you have this very unique situation where you have data that's publicly available, and the contact information for the people who needs to look at that data to make decisions. That's also publicly available. It's the only sector where that's true. So we're able to actually create some really interesting outbound marketing campaigns to take advantage of that setup. Our email click-throughs are about 40% on our outbound emails. That's where we're starting with. We want to be the platform that runs modern governments, starting with making data accessible to them. We think there's a lot more opportunities that will come down the line, but making data accessible is the first part of that strategy to make it to power the entire government.
Thank you. LiveStories.